Okay, welcome to chapter 5 of The Secret History. This is a fantastic chapter. I really enjoyed it. The second time I've read it, actually, in the last few weeks. It's the second time. It's a really long chapter. It's about 110 pages long. But there's lots and lots of adverb collocations, phrasal verbs, and we'll look at some of those in the next class, although we'll see a few crop up today. Yeah, we will see a few phrasal verbs and interesting phrases, expressions. They will crop up today. But I wanted to focus today on phrases and clauses. I'm a great believer that if you're aware of all the different phrases and clauses, you will start using all the different phrases and clauses and not just certain types of phrase and clause. Because in everyday English, we speak quite simply. Yeah, we use main clauses a lot of the time. We join our thoughts together in pretty simple ways with and or. And in any literature, you actually see a wide variety of different phrases and clauses, and that's how you know that somebody is a good writer. They use such a wide variety of phrases and expressions and interesting sentences. And to make interesting sentences, you need variety. So we're going to look at phrases and clauses, and I want to remind you all, some of you may already know this because it's certainly in my Master English Language, Punctuation and Grammar course. And it's certainly in this book, which you get when you join that course. This is my Grammar in Theory and in Practice book. And so, and you get this free on the Master English Language course. But a clause always contains a subject and a verb as the main elements. And I say that as the main elements because there are noun phrases which have a clause inside, but they're not a clause, they're a phrase, because the subject and verb are not the main elements. The noun is the main element in the noun phrase, and we will see some examples of this in a second with our apositives. But so a clause has a subject and a verb as the main elements. A phrase does not. And that's the only difference, really, between a clause and a phrase. So a phrase is lower down on the hierarchy. A clause can be a main clause, which means a complete thought. A phrase is never a complete thought, never. Okay, because a complete thought must have a subject and a verb. It must have something doing something. Okay, so let's have a look at noun phrases first. And I thought we'd start with apositives, because you can find apositives in any literature. And it's just when you have a noun phrase and then another noun phrase. Usually there's a comma between the two of them, but not always. So when you have two noun phrases that refer to exactly the same object, you have an apositive. So a simple apositive would be something like David, comma, my English teacher, comma. Yeah, that would be an apositive because you're renaming David, my English teacher. They're both nouns. David is a thing. My English teacher is a thing. And so this is an example of an apositive, and it's probably the least interesting, the most boring type of apositive, when you get a person's name and then, you know, a person's profession or something like that. And the very first example we have here from the book is probably the most boring type. Yeah, we were living just a few steps from the Via Condotti, and this is the most expensive shopping street in Rome. But we don't have we just have the Via Condotti, the most expensive shopping street in Rome. So that's a noun phrase, the Via Condotti, and we know it's a noun phrase because it's coming after a preposition. And prepositions, most of the time, not always in English, but most of the time a preposition will have a noun phrase after it.